22 races complete, one more still to go, and it could still be an absolute cracker as it has been all weekend. I don't think it's been a bad race whatsoever from every single champion that we've had and series on the grid, but of course one champion that knows how to put on an absolute cracker of a race, it's this one. The Clapham North Mazda MX-5 SuperCup, of course sponsored by Clapham North, of course modern service traditional values, of course looked after by the Grant family, of course good old George Grant, of course, who I know is watching at home and watching the SuperCup cars, which a champion he's been well familiar with over the years. Of course the SuperCup cars once again adorning on the windscreen strips and the number plates on the back of the cars, the Clapham North logo once again. Do go and check them out once again. So, thanks to his support, and of course once more we get a partially reversed top 7 on this one from this draw, which means Kamal Kelsey starts on pole position for the final race of the weekend, for Alistair Dendy alongside him. It's then Sam Middleton and Ollie Hall on row 2 from William Androbus, race 1 winner, just 17 years old, that's fresh out of karting. And then we have our other 2 podium finishers, Dan Parham-Smith, who picked up his best result ever in SuperCup with 2nd, and race 2 winner Thomas Langford, redeeming himself after his diff engine problem he had, because he mentioned that I heard over that in the interviews when he was doing the circuit interviews when he was speaking to Rob afterwards when I was getting set ready for lunch. So diff problem is what put him out, not engine, thankfully, so they managed to change that in the lunch break, getting ready for race number 3. Lead Andy Sadler's on the 4th row in car number 11, ahead of Steve Kite and Scott Wright, then Jim Barrett and Richard Moore. Martin Tolley and Graham Rumsey come next on the 7th row, Chris Ginn and Alex Jones, and then John Christie run right at the back of the grid once again. In the invitation class at Mark 4 ND generation at Mazda MX-5, got a good start in race 2 to get into the top 10, is Ji Hui Wang. So good to see from him in car 76, looking to try and make an impression from the back of the field. So, as you saw, the weather is still quite fair, it's still quite bright and sunny, it's got typical late spring afternoon, almost sunset coming through, late sunshine, and good to see we've got the shadows lengthening here, because it has been, we can reflect on this post-race in a way, because we'll let Rob close things up once we are finished this last race, but I'm slightly sad this race is almost over, because it's been 22 incredible races, whether it's been Club Sport Trophy for 45 minutes or Fiesta Juniors, ST240s, all 3 Mazda championships, including this one, and 2 CVs, and Caterhams, of course, have been absolutely spellbinding, genuinely from start to finish. It's been 2 days of excellent club motorsport. If this sets the tone in general for the BRSUC season, I say you should be tuning into every single live stream they have and get to trackside the ones that they don't, because honestly, bring it on. It's been a great weekend's worth of racing, top class club motorsport from top to bottom, and hopefully we get race 23 to be just as good, if not even as good, if not even better than the 22 that's been before it. It could be set quite well with a partial reverse grid. It's been an amazing weekend. It could finish once again with an absolute cracker if we get a good one, as we have 22 times before that.
Indeed, heading into dusk then here at Snetterton. Yeah, genuinely, we've had 22 races and not one of them has been at all boring. They've been unbelievably exciting, and like you say, I certainly will be one. Any ones I'm not shouting about, I'll be watching at home for sure. Here we go then, race 23 of the weekend. Looks as though all the drivers just about lined up here then for the Clapham North Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. Their last race of the weekend, our last race of the weekend, and now we just wait to see that 5-second board come up.
And it comes up now. So, stand by for action for one final time here at Snetterton to close off the AIRTEC Motorsport Snetterton Spring Season Opener then. Lights out as the final Super Cup race is go. Decent start initially from Kelsey. Better start from the 2nd row of the grid from Ollie Hall. And also starting out there's Jim Barrett in the background, one of our club class runners, but down towards the Richies for the first time. Kelsey will hold the whole shot by the looks of it. Up the inside looks Dendy for 2nd, but Hall sweeps across. It's Middleton across the front of Parham-Smith for 4th, and it's 3 wide between, looks like that's Dendy, Sadler, Parham-Smith. No, it's Parham-Smith, Androbus and Langford over 5th, 6th and 7th positions. Up the inside, back again goes Kelsey, almost leaning on Hall through the apex, and holds on to the place, and they got through just about unscathed. They have. Good to see all is well so far in the pack. Down towards Palmer, they'll go for the first time under racing speeds. Oh, 3 abreast again through Palmer's. That's Androbus round the outside of both Middleton and Thomas Langford. Surely not. No, because he gets put out onto the curb on the outside line and shuffled out wide. And here comes the Andy Sadler trying to get involved as well in his number 11 machine. Parham-Smith's up to 4th, make it almost 3rd. Dendy Sadler defends and tries to attack Kelsey. It's all action so far in this opening lap on this partial reverse grid. There tend to be quite good spectacles, partial reverse grids. I think with this one already in the first few corners, John, it's going to be more the same here with this one.
100%, yeah, we're stepping into a very exciting 20 minutes of action to finish off the event here at Snetterton. And yes, battles galore as we continue on through this first lap. I saw off the race start as well. It was a good start for Zhizhe Wang in the other slightly different Mazda, but there was a little bit of contact off the race start as well as drivers went off left, right and centre. Zhizhe just making a little bit of contact with a couple of drivers, but they all press on, and there they are in the orange number 76 car. We press on then down the Bentley straight for the first time in this one, and the weaving commences as the drivers try and break that toe as they head into the heavy braking zone, down into Brundle and through Nelson. A couple of lockups there in the mid-pack, and looks as though they've all kept it nice and tidy as we head through to the apex of the corner. It's been a lovely few parts of the lap though for Hall. He starts to break away then, doesn't he, at the sharp end as we continue battling down through the bomb hole. Yeah, this reverse top 7, a lovely ingredient to spice up this last race of the day.
Definitely so. And Ollie Hall, if he's allowed to get away, probably will do in this sense, but he's got some pretty quick drivers behind him that might make an impact. Antrobus there in number 57 for Hills Motorsport. Just 17 years old, fresh out of karting and racing a SuperCup like he's been doing it for a while. Took pole position in qualifying yesterday, just about almost led every single lap, although he was still in the mix for it, and he had 3 cars around him that were causing issues, that he was battling with. It was Ollie Hall and Dan Parham-Smith it was either Parham-Smith or Kamal Kelsey, one of the two, made contact at the Wilson hairpin, and then it was a diff problem, as we heard from Thomas Langford. He confirmed after he won race 2 that put him out of race number 1, and that just opened the door up once again for Antrobus to hit the victory. Up the inside and opening the door was Kelsey there for Parham-Smith in what I believe is the Aidan Hill's 2-time title-winning car, because it's got the same colour scheme of predominantly blue with the offset striping, and then you've got the orange and black detailing on that car as well. It was run by double champion Aidan Hills of Hills Motorsport. Him and his father Darren run that squad pretty well. They've been MX-5 SuperCup champions and Miata Trophy champions, so they're quite well versed in Mazda MX-5s. Also doing a little bit of Mark 1s as well this year too. Back into the hairpin for Agostini goes Ollie Hall, still leading. Parham-Smith in second, Kelsey third. One car's dropped down a little bit is Sam Middleton's gone to the mid-pack. He was about 8th or 9th across the line. He's behind Lee Dendy Sadler, ahead of Scott Wright and Steve Kite, who leads the club class from Barrett and Rumsey. And also, Zhuhai Wang is also in the ND Mark IV MX-5 from the back of the field, already up to 12th after a lap and a half.
Indeed, yes, been a good race so far, hasn't it? Hall remaining firm in the lead of the race, but now finds himself with Parham-Smith right in his wheel tracks, and just takes a little bit more of the corner than maybe you would have liked there for Hall. It's a bit of momentum speed for Ollie on the 27, but I'm not sure Parham-Smith able to make the most of it though. Can't quite use the slipstream down the back straight, and they'll stay as they were as we head into the braking zone once more. But again, not really opening up into packs just yet. We are still pretty much the entirety of the field in one train as we head down the back straight. The Hall continuing to lead us through here. Now, question is, as Kelsey starts to drop behind them just a little bit, as this is a bit closer comfort, isn't it? There, Middleton getting properly shoved out to the grass there by the number 11 as they head on through. That was Dendy Sadler just making sure that there wasn't going to be a re-attack there from Middleton, and he definitely made sure of that, didn't he? But as I was saying, Kelsey dropping back a little bit, another little bit of a slidey moment there through Coram. Potential here for Hall and Parham-Smith just to work together for a few minutes to break away a bit, and then maybe the gloves will come off later on in the race. Well,
maybe better later than now, otherwise it'll spoil the race in terms of making it a little bit too distant. Across the line go the leaders for the end of lap number 2. First proper flying lap, it's Parham-Smith with the pace, 2:16.4. Remember, Parham-Smith hasn't won a race yet, neither, as far as I'm aware, is Ollie Hall. So either of them, if they're in contention, could potentially be in the mix for their first ever Super Cup win. And Parham-Smith got his personal best of 2nd place earlier on in race number 2. Ollie Hall has never won a Super Cup race. As far as I'm aware, he hasn't. So if that's the case, it could be a very special occasion if he does in this 3rd race. And he's been threatening all weekend, threatening for the last, 12, 18 months to do so. But Ollie Hall might finally get a chance to do so, particularly if drivers like Langford and Antrobus are stuck behind the likes of Dendy Sadler, but Kelsey and Dendy. That won't be confusing. Dendy and Dendy Sadler with 2 in the same field. But down towards the apex of Agostini they'll come under the braking zone. It's Dendy in white on the left, Langford in blue and white on the right, and the kind of maroon, kind of metallic, deep metallic red MX-5 of Antrobus in the mix as well. There's the Mark IV in the mix of Zhuhai Wang at the wheel. Novice Cross on the back of him as well. He's also, of course, an invitation class car, because of course he isn't a Mark III, but he's also in the mix to try and see how this car stacks up against the Mark III contenders. It's doing pretty well in his hands. He's got a top 10 finish in race number 2. Good to see that car out in the mix. As I mentioned earlier on, the BRCC have been trying to get the Mark 4s off the ground for a little while. Oh, Dendy clipped the curb and thumped the apex marker cone on the inside line. That's also to give him a bit of a incentive for Antrobus to get past, but I think he almost signalled there, I think, to Antrobus saying again, it's a classic, don't battle me, push me and let's go back towards the front. So I think Antrobus has seen that and figured out what's happening. So Hall goes through into Brundle and Nelson, side by side for third almost, as Langford looks to the inside of Kelsey to pick up a podium place, and over the curb he goes, squeezes Kelsey out wide, and into third place goes the former Mark 1 champion, up towards the right-hander at the bomb hole, and also recovering, appears to be Middleton. He's getting away from right, he's lost out to Dendy Sadler, but trying to get back at him now in 8th position.
It was a lovely shot there as they went under the bridge. We had a Mark 1 Mazda
Yes.
MX-5 on the back of a lorry going over the top of Mark 3 MX-5s racing underneath. Great to see as the Mark 1s head home. The Mark 3's still getting fired up here for 13 more minutes of racing action. And yeah, indeed, sliding through the last couple of corners, up and over that curb. That's going to ruin your momentum all the way up the start-finish straight. But Hall and Parent-Smith continuing to scamper off. And yet again, another brilliant lap from Ollie Hall, as again, he's getting closer and closer to the checkered flag and a potential first win. But I don't want to commentators curse him. There's still 12.5 minutes to go then. We press on, and Langford now up to P3 and Antrobus in P6. So those are your two previous race winners this weekend. Continuing to hunt down your race leaders there. Crucially though, Langford now ahead properly of Kelsey. He's only got clear air between himself and the two drivers and the leader of this race.
Two there for commentators curses with 2-2 already, so we've broken that already, unfortunately. Down towards Palmer's they'll come. And of course, there's potential here for some good results here. Kamal Kelsey would love to get a podium if he can. I think he did get a podium. Yes, he did in race 1 yesterday. It was 2nd place. He's his best result all so far. And he was a regular club class runner. But some of these drivers have been racing Mazdas elsewhere. I hope they won't mind me saying so. Of course, they've been racing in the Master Trophy, which runs pretty much similar, if not identical spec. MX-5 is just a different tyre. They run on Toyos compared to Nankangs this year. Of course, they've changed the tyres this year. There was Kumo, but for SuperCup, they've kept on Kumos and Mark 1s, but they've gone to Nankangs and Mark 3s, and they seem to be enjoying these tyres so far. Nankang, quite a prominent tyre supplier in the BRCC circles, the likes of several championships in series run the Nankang tyre. It's a good tyre compound to have. I think they're on the NS2R tyre, if I'm correct. I'm sure I'll get a slap on the wrist by probably Greg from BRCC to say it's the wrong one, but it is, I think, the NS2R, I believe. I think John's going to just check the regulations to see if you can see anything tyre info-wise. Down the back straight come the leaders, meanwhile, on 11.5 minutes to go. 4th lap of the race, and it's good to see we've got the top 7 or 8 cars in the same straight altogether, not really dropping away too much. So as they come back in towards Brundle Nelson again, Ollie Hall's holding station. This could be a big moment though, if he holds on for the next 11.25 minutes. If is the operative word in that sentence. Because we know motorsport is completely unpredictable, so anything can definitely happen. Of course, we thought Thomas Langford was going to win the race 1 yesterday, and his diff blew up, and then he was out of the race, which gave Antrobus the free pass to come back through after the contact we saw from Parent-Smith. It was Parent-Smith and Hall up at the Wilson hairpin. It gave Antrobus the permission to go back through again and go for 4th to 1st in practically, what was it, a couple of laps. So it all happened pretty quickly, and it can happen pretty quickly. You've seen much more dramatic finishes as they come back down the pit straight. Now, Dendy Sadler has repassed Middleton and has also got onto the tail of Asda Dendy now, who's dropping back behind Antrobus, so there's a change there. Langford now sets a new fastest lap of the race. In fact, 3 new fastest laps in one go. It's getting a bit cooler out there now, which I think means the tyres are at a better operating temperature with the pressures and everything else. And off the road goes Dendy Sadler. Maybe too cold for him, skating off into what would have been a potato field several years ago and just about keeping out the field in the mix. But it's impressive to go that far sliding off at Richie's corner, even this day and age.
Yeah, we haven't seen anyone go that quite far off piste, have we, down at T1, as he's trying to get it back on circuit. Well, some style points anyway to get it back on, but a lot of time and a lot of positions lost as well.
That would have been a very bemused Chris Gidding saying, where have you come from? Why are you all the way out over there? But that's just the consequence of going too fast into Richie's. That reminds me of back in 1995, which shows how I was 4 years old at that time, which shows how old I am, or young, whatever you want to look at it. Ricardo Rydell had an off at Snetterton where he just lost the rear brakes and went skating off, and he almost hit an ambulance. Thankfully he didn't, but he was very close to doing so. But he skated off at high speed at Richie's corner, and it was like he completely just shot the gap of where it was between the trees or where the ambulance was on the tree, and just thankfully nothing happened and nobody was hurt and he was okay. But it was such a close, high speed incident. But now you see someone go off there, it almost reminds you of that. You're going so fast into that corner, you go through Richie's faster than you think, and then the car, if it just snaps, as it can do in the MX-5 SuperCup cars, you have a tendency to be more stable, but if they do get sideways, they snap more than the Mark 1. It's the opposite with the Mark 1s, where they do sort of slide a lot more, but they're much easier, more catchable because they're a tiny bit softer. The Mark 3s, they do grip more, but because of that, if you get a slide, once it grips, it throws you back the other way. So it can be very much pros and cons of driving one or the other, depending on what you prefer to try and handle. Now Langford's closed in on the top 2 here as we come out of Nelson with just under half of the race left to go. And then we have Kelsey, Androbus, Dendy and Dendy Sadler. Well, what they did was Dendy Sadler went off into an almost potato field up at Richie's corner. From 4th down to 7th. But this is the top 3 now, and what could have been a one-on-one battle now becoming a 3-way fight for the lead. Parra Smith looking pretty racy here. But again, Langford's will be, I think, his 3rd or 4th SuperCup victory. If Hall or Parra Smith get it, it'll be their first. So a lot at stake here. And of course, Langford is now 1-1 with Androbus. He wants to try and get himself in contention with the SuperCup title, John. He needs to try and get this one. But of course, with the new fast snap of the race, he's going the right way about it. But watch the top 2 in front. If they keep on scrapping, it'll open the door for Langford to get through. It'll be game on for the victory with 8.25 minutes to go.
Yeah, it was 15.4 on the previous lap from Langford. It's 15.3 that last time around. And he's closed the gap massively to these 2 leaders. And positively for them, they're squabbling in behind for 4th place as well. All the way around the outside is trying Langford, but an up and under there on corner exit. We're 3 wide for the lead here in the Mazdas. And chucked out to the grass then goes Langford. It'll be Parra Smith though on the outside line here as we go through into the left of Palmer. Up the inside once again chucks Thomas Langford, looking to steal away that position in the top 2. And he will have the inside line. He will actually have the place before we even get down to Agostini. So through does go Langford up into P2. Now Ollie Hall, he's been defending very well from Parra Smith over the last couple of laps, or maybe not even defending, but keeping him behind nonetheless. Now it's proven race winner in Thomas Langford, who Ollie Hall finds he has behind him. Yeah, good to see as well with that off from Dendy Sadler that he didn't dig in, because that's often where we can see the biggest incidents down at Rich's, is when a car goes sideways, suddenly digs in and stops moving pretty quickly, and up and over it goes. Well, thank goodness Dendy Sadler didn't dig in, and he continues on, which is lovely to see. Sadly though, falling out of position where he was before and losing a lot of time as well. He's got some work to do over these last 7 minutes. Here is William Antrobus still applying the pressure to the rear bumper of Kamal Khalsi's car. This is in the battle for 4th place then. As we said, they were squabbling earlier on the lap. Same for Dendy and Middleton behind. But we go side by side for the lead of the race then. Round the outside, we'll try Langford, but no. Hall closes the door, aggressively so. He just about wrangles the car there through to the apex as the battle in behind kicks off as well. There is Antrobus making the move. That shuffles Kelsey back, and here comes the 18 as well, getting involved. This is Dendy making a move as well, so Kelsey loses 2 positions in 2 corners, and it might be 3 now as Middleton's back on the scene as well. At the sharp end, Hall just about holding on to it, but Langford is going for this, isn't he? Out the final corner they go, and again, he is in the perfect seat here to try and steal the lead back away.
Langford knows he has a car and the ability underneath him to win this championship this year. He knows how competitive SuperCup is. He took to it pretty quickly, because this time last year when he was battling with Will Blackwell Chambers for the lead all through the weekend, got 3 second places, and he really was in the mix as well, looking for the up and under as Hall goes wide. Here comes Langford. Is there going to be contact? Thankfully there isn't, and Langford finds the up and under, finds the shot in the middle to get the lead, and also possibly for 2nd place could be Parra Smith. He's got the inside line, and Hall has no choice. He has to give him room. Up inside he goes. Slaver goes out wide, and Parra Smith goes through past both of them. So Langford oversteered and understeered at the same time on corner exit, was all loose trying to get back on the power, and Parra Smith goes to the front. So Darren Parra Smith, who took a 2nd place, his best ever SuperCup finish in race 2, could be staring with 5.5 minutes to go if he stays where he is on his first SuperCup victory. And all of us could be denying Ollie Hall his first SuperCup win if he can't get back past the top of the 2 cars in front. And if they keep on battling, it could be a possibility. Side by side for the lead, Langford goes back around the outside and will be there for track position. If he can stay around the outside of Hamilton, which is risky business if he can try and make it happen, he'll be on the inside for Oggies. Can he get through? The answer is, well, he tried, but Parra Smith comes back across, throws the block, and here comes Hall to the outside line. Langford is boxed in between the 2 cars. For 4th behind him, it's all kicking off. We've got Antrobus with Dendy, then Kelsey and Middleton going side by side. We wanted the cracker to end the weekend. We are getting it in spades here. 22 races down. Race 23 just as exciting as all the rest of them.
It has been so exciting, hasn't it? There was a little bit of contact in the background there between Antrobus and Dendy as they headed through the midsection of the circuit, but they managed to avoid each other just about, and they stay as they were then. Antrobus 4th, Dendy 5th. Middleton now through on Kelsey once more, but we're side by side for the race lead again. To the outside line goes Langford, and all the way round the outside he goes to the lead of the race for the first time in race number 3 here in the Clapham North Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. So now it's Langford from Parra Smith and Hall in the top 3, but these 3 battling has definitely brought the group for 4 back into play. There's Jihei Wang making nice moves as well, now leading the next train of drivers, and that'll be down at the bottom end of the top 10. battling in with the 72 there of Steve Kite. But here are your leaders once more. Langford now leads the way, and already he's been in the lead for what, 2-3 corners, and already he's trying to break away.
Yeah, that's typical Langford, of course, being a Mark 1 champion before and quickly taking 2 Mark 3s in his second season. There goes Zhihai Wang in the Mark 4 MX-5. Of course, invitation class, not scoring any points or bothering anyone in terms of point scoring. Back for second place, the 2 yet-to-be winners. I'm sure at some point, if they don't today, they will be at some point throughout the season. Now going into combat, and again, hard to fight each other. Easy it is for Langford to pull away. Antwerp's very sideways through Richie's corner. He's pushing, isn't he? That's youthful exuberance. As there goes Dan Parasmith back past Hall to go to third. Antwerp just arrives on Hall bumper under brakes, with Hall then in 5th position. I know the curfew's 6:30. Can we have an extra 5 minutes of this? This is brilliant stuff. We've got time. Extend the race time. We've got time to do it. We can play with it. It's fine. As we go through the left-hander of Palmer onto the back straight on the penultimate lap of the race and of the weekend. It's been such a great weekend from start to finish. If this sets the tone for the rest of the year, I say bring it on, because it is brilliant stuff to see all the way through. Under brakes into the left-hander at Agostini. We've got Middleton scrapping away with Scott Wright, having one of his best races of the weekend so far, having been a little bit distant in the first 2, also on the back of Kelsey as well. But Langford, you're rightfully saying, he's trying to pull away here. He wants to get this victory done and make it 2 from 3 and put himself in prime position to go to the next round next month as the championship leader.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, very slidey from Antwerp. You say youthful exuberance. I also think there's partially the fact that he can smell a podium here, can't he, as he gets closer and closer to Hall and Parent-Smith ahead, and the second driver there to smash the inside curb through Williams. That chucks Hall all the way out wide. He did well to keep that off of the exit curb and grass there, but that's lost him the exit speed, and Parent-Smith can just relax a little bit, at least for this straight at least. Antrobus and Dendy still going right with them as well. There's definitely a potential podium on for both of these 2 drivers, but they're going to have to fight for it. And still Langford continuing to break away here. He has got one hand on the trophy in race number 3, barring any serious issues. Now we are chasing a back marker. Hopefully that won't pose too much difficulty, but also you've got to think as well, Langford's already had mechanical issues, hopefully all sorted, but you just never know. Race cars can go wrong at the drop of a hat. Well, we head through the final corner then, and this will be onto the last lap of racing here at Snetterton for the AIRTEC Motorsport BRSCC Snetterton season opener.
Right, place your bets. Who's it going to go to? Langford has got the advantage here. For second place, it could be anyone's guess. They're coming up to put a lap on the number 60 of Jonathan Christie-Rundle, who still did the SuperCup, the Motorsport Trophy race earlier on. Here they come down towards Richie. He's now 4 for the podium places then. So it looks like Langford, touchwood, appears to be away and dry. It's not counter chickens just yet. We'll wait and see. 4 for the lead though. So for second place, who's it going to be? Andrew swarming around down the outside. A huge dive down the outside of both of them. Goes past Hall. Can he get past Parent-Smith as well? 3 abreast on exit. There's a contact between the 2 Hills Motorsport teammates, but Parent-Smith holds on. And now it's side by side for second with the inside line advantage Parent-Smith. But Hall can go around the outside if he's confident enough. Antwerp tries to force the issue up the inside. He goes of Hall for third. Doesn't lean on him. And Jonathan Christie-Rundle thinks, I'm getting out of the way, I'm not having any part of this whatsoever. Keeps out of the way as the leaders come towards him. Dendy what's involved in this as well. Side by side is Hell and Antwerp. Touch wing mirrors and again towards the braking zone. This is close for the podium places. Antwerp wants the third place if he can. Sweeps across and Hall gets out wide. Here comes Dendy as well. Ollie Hall was at one point in contention for a victory. Makes contact with Dendy. He waved dismissively. What are you doing, Ollie? Come on, get out of it. Brilliant stuff as they come through. But now with half a lap to go, John, this could be possibly quite a close finish. But seemingly at the moment, Langford's got this one pretty much wrapped up. One car is, that's Christie-Rundle getting in the background and falling back anyway. But with half a lap to go, Langford looks away and dry by 2 seconds. But for second and third, it could be Hills Motorsport back on the podium.
Yeah, Langford's absolutely cleared off, hasn't he? He didn't need an invitation to drive away with this one. As soon as he got to the front, he left everyone in the dust. As you see there, Antrobus asking for a push, but the drivers behind not quite close enough, as Antrobus now wants to steal away second place from Parent-Smith. Well, Hall and Dendy almost go side by side there into the braking zone. Hall wants the position back, and my heart goes out to him. He's driven the most amazing race, and Hall led for the majority of this one, really, and now he's been shuffled back into 5th place. Well, Langford leads us down through Cora for the final time then, and it's surely his race here as he leads us through down into the Murray's corner for the final time in this race, and of course the weekend as well. What a race for Langford after getting back to the sharp end, but here's the battle we're watching for second place. Out the final corner we come then, and Parent-Smith has the run, but will Antrobus get enough of a tow? There is Langford across the line to win in the final race of the weekend. Who can hold on to second place? It is Parent-Smith ahead of Antrobus with with Dendy, Hall, Kelsey and Middleton all in that front train as well. What a race to cap off the weekend.
MX-5 Super Cup is well and truly back to its best on that sense, and that was 3 excellent races, capped off with a brilliant race 3 on the partial reverse grid. And Thomas Langford will lead the weekend with 2 out of 3. Now, he might not be fully leading the championship, I think about it, because of course he didn't score in race 1, so therefore he might be a little bit back. So it might be Andrews, I think, possibly leading the points, if not Parham Smith, one of the two. But in any case, it was a fine effort, and certainly he'll have to count that as one of his drop scores. But still, Langford gets himself 2 victories. That is certainly a statement of intent for the rest of the season. And of course, when drop scores come into play, I'm certain he'll be back in contention and might get a bit more better luck next time out when we go to the next few rounds. Rest of the cars coming across the line, but everyone has crossed the line now, which is excellent to see. And I guess we can do a quick wrap up before we go to Rob, because that is all she wrote. 23 races in the books, and the AIRTEC Motorsport Snetterton Spring Season Opener is complete as the drivers come into the Parc Fermé area for the final time this weekend. A big thank you to all of our marshals, officials and medics, everyone involved on top of that. We'll rattle through that very quickly in a second. But Thomas Langford takes the victory. In fact, tell you what, there's the results on screen. Langford, Parham and Andrews take the top 3 in Pro Class. Club Class sees Steve Kite take the victory from Team Jim Barrett and Christopher Ginn. Just finally, before we head over to Rob, an amazing weekend thanks to all the drivers, teams, to everyone at BRCC, officials, to the marshals incredibly, who've been superstars all the way through from start to finish, medics, volunteers, everyone involved as well, to all of our camera crew, to Barry, our director, of course, to all of our production team and camera crew out here at Digitex TV, everyone at Snetterton, all of you for watching. If you want to keep up to date with everything, subscribe to the YouTube channel and also follow on social media and on the website as well.